DSU hot seat. We're resuming our debates before Election Day in November. We've done A and B, districts A and B for the city of New Orleans. We're getting back to District C, a very important, very big district. It includes all of Algiers as well as the French Quarter in New Orleans. That seat is being vacated by Kristen Palmer. She is running for an at-large seat. 7 people have qualified to run. The good news is all 7 candidates are here with us tonight. Here they are in alphabetical order: Stephanie Bridges, Freddie King III, Alonzo Knox, Vincent Milligan Jr., Stephen Mossgrove, Frank Perez, and Barbara Waiters. Everybody gets a chance to make an opening statement. We're going to go alphabetically. Ms. Bridges, we start with you. You have 30 seconds to make an opening statement.
I am Stephanie Bridges, a lifelong resident of District C and candidate for City Council. For over 25 years, I've served as a director fighting for equality. As a former city council or a former city attorney, I served my fellow citizens. Like you, I became increasingly alarmed by the direction our city is headed, lacking basic services, diminishing quality of life that are not being addressed. I want a government to work for every resident. I will be the council member that brings effective change. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. King, we're going to go with you. 30 seconds to make an opening statement.
Thank you, Travis. My name is Freddie King III. I'm born and raised in District C. I'm a small business owner in District C. And most importantly, my wife and I decided to raise our children in District C. And we want the same thing everyone else wants: a safe place to live and raise your kids. And I believe in the past couple of years, we haven't received that in District C, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Knox. 30 seconds. First off, I'll give you all congratulations. You kept it right at 30 seconds, both of you all. Mr. Knox, you have 30 seconds to make an opening statement.
Thank you, Trevor. I'm a successful business owner. I'm the owner of Back of Town Coffee Parlor. I first got my service, my starting public service when I joined the United States Marine Corps and fought in combat. I have experience in politics. I worked for U.S. Senator John Broy in Washington, D.C. I worked for then State Representative Sharon Weston in the Baton Rouge office. I've been a city commissioner of New Orleans on the Historic District and Landmark Commission for over 6 years. I know what it's like to fight for progress. I've been fighting on behalf of people for over 20 years, and I continue to fight as a council member for District C.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Knox. Mr. Milligan, you have 30 seconds to make an opening statement.
Hi, my name is Vincent Milligan. I moved here 5 years ago from Baton Rouge after the flood. I lived in other major cities across the United States as well as Mexico. And once I moved here, I saw a lot of issues starting to pile up in the last couple of years. I and my partner have a couple of businesses in the French Quarter. And last year we had a lot of issues with the city as far as rent reduction and taxes and so forth. And that made me realize all of the corruption building up in New Orleans, and I'm here to fight for the issues and fight against corruption.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mossgrove, 30 seconds for an opening statement as well.
Hi, I'm Stephen Mossgrove. I grew up in Algiers, and as a public servant and neighborhood leader, I have lived as a standard bearer and advocate for community progress. I'm running for city council because District C is experiencing many challenges, from crime, blight, economic stagnation and increased cost, intense pressures on historic neighborhoods, and the need for a priority focus on its infrastructure. I look forward to this discussion.
Thank you very much. Mr. Perez, same 30 seconds to open a statement here.
Hi, I'm Frank Perez. By way of introduction, I'd like voters to know that I am a successful small business owner. I'm a local author. I've written several books on the history of the city. I teach part-time at Loyola University, and I'm also the president and co-founder of a nonprofit organization called the LGBT Plus Archives Project of Louisiana. I've never run for office before, and the only reason I'm doing it now is because I think City Hall can do better. I'm frustrated with the failure of city government to deliver basic municipal services. I know I can make a difference, and that's why I'm running.
Thank you. And finally, Ms. Waiters, you've waited a long time. You have 30 seconds to make an opening statement.
Hello, community and citizens. I hope everyone is faring well from this post-Ida recovery. I pray for your families and you. My name is Barbara Waiters again, and I'm running for District C. I am an independent voice. I bring over 30 years of experience collectively in government, navigating government, business, and community. I've worked in disaster response, and I believe in the quality of life for our citizens and for our communities.
Well, I hate to cut you off there because that's about 30 seconds, but we're going to start this question with you. You get it 30 seconds again. Debris pickup has been a nightmare in the city of New Orleans. It's impacting District C. It was a problem before Ida. It's a big problem afterwards. If you're elected in 30 seconds, what can you do to get people's trash picked up?
Well, I think planning and collaboration is a very important element of sanitation, and accountability, making contractors accountability and putting policies in place to make contractors accountable. But also, this is nothing new. We did this before Katrina. We have the plans in place, just needs to be implemented. There needs to be communications on all levels with all departments and all levels of state government and state, local, and federal government. I think that's the fundamental problem that we have.
All right, Mr. Perez, same question. If elected, what is your plan to get people's trash picked up? Because it's a big problem in District C.
Well, it was a problem before Ida, and what we need to do is hold city contractors accountable. As far as the debris and the trash situation after Ida, that is an example of a complete and utter lack of preparation. It's not like we don't know a hurricane's coming. So I think the city could have done a lot better job of being prepared. It's just inexcusable to me.
I think most residents watching this agree. Mr. Musgrove, 30 seconds. What is your plan to get people's trash picked up if you're elected?
Yes, one of my key platform positions is improved city performance in all phases. The lack of accountability to contractors, the ambiguity of the contracts, and then the lack of follow-up on the contracts and keeping the contractors accountable has been a problem for many years, needs to improve. In terms of disaster response, absolutely. Planning, communication, coordination need to improve. And we just need to be prepared and accept the fact that the basic services are the key role of city government and to perform at a higher level.
All right, Mr. Milligan, same question in 30 seconds. What is your plan if you get elected to pick up people's trash?
Okay, well, first of all, just like any contractor or any worker, if they're not performing, they get fired. So we don't need to wait a whole year and after a hurricane to figure out if somebody's doing their job or not, because they haven't been doing it for the last year. After Katrina, we had City Torres. Why don't we get City Torres back? They said they couldn't afford him before the city couldn't, but now Mayor Cottrell just spent $20 million on 4 contractors to clean the city for a month. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that could afford a better contractor for us citywide.
All right. Mr. Knox, you're up next. 30 seconds. What is your plan if elected to get the trash picked up?
Thank you. My plan is to have more oversight, accountability, and coordination. I think the mayor's concept around the Mardi Gras collection was a good start, but it lacked the effective coordination. I would have expanded that to also include the National Guard to bring in 5-ton trucks. I would have expanded that to also look at all companies that have the vehicles and the capacity to pick up trash. And we need to have a plan and a backup plan to the plan. And that's what I want to do on the next elected council.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. King. Same question, 30 seconds.
I'm like everyone else. I'm appalled. I smell the smells. I see the sights. What we need to have is contracts and contractors in place prior to the storm or any natural disaster. So the moment the storm is over, we can hit the ground running, boots on the ground, and get this done sooner than later. If we stay ready, we won't have to get ready. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Bridges, we're going to end this question with you. 30 seconds. What is your plan if elected to get people's trash picked up?
I mean, how much is it worth to have our garbage picked up? It can create havoc on our public health and our public safety. This is not the first time we've had a hurricane in this situation. We know that we have a plan, and that plan needs to be implemented. We have to hold our contractors accountable for everything and anything that they're supposed to do into keeping our city safe.
All right, we're going to start this question with you in 30 seconds. Entergy is regulated, Entergy New Orleans, by the New Orleans City Council. Ms. Bridges, in 30 seconds, how do you make sure Entergy gets people's power back on and we don't deal with what we dealt with after Ida? 30 seconds.
I'm going to be a city council member that will ensure that Entergy is held accountable for the citizens of New Orleans. I mean, they plant, or they created this plant, or I should have said they implemented this plant in the city of New Orleans East. And we're still trying to figure out what is going on with that plant. So we need to hold meetings to hold them accountable so that they can answer to us exactly what it is that they have not been performing, and why did we have to put all of this money into this new plant, and yet it is not operating as it should.
All right, Mr. King, same question. How will you work to better regulate Entergy New Orleans if you're elected?
Hold Entergy accountable, ask the questions that haven't been asked by our council as of yet. I believe that Entergy realizes that it's the only game in town, and they treat us as if they're the only game in town. And once elected as a council member, I'll make sure that they would no longer treat us as if they're the only game in town, and make sure that they are held accountable for their failures moving forward.
All right, Mr. Knox, you're up here. A lot of small businesses impacted by these power outages. In 30 seconds, how would you better regulate Entergy if elected?
Yes, and I was one of those small businesses. And one of the things that I would have to do is to break up the monopoly. We decided a long time ago in this country that monopolies were bad. They produce inherently bad products. They produce bad customer service. What we need to do is to look at broadening our energy sources, look at clean energy, look at solar and wind, and bring that into play as a means of competition, and that will force energy to be more responsive and accountable.
All right, Mr. Milligan, same question, 30 seconds with Entergy.
First of all, I don't think that the city of New Orleans should be regulating the Entergy. They're not qualified. I think that the Public Service Commission should take that over. It would reduce our bills 20%. I think we could look into more clean energy, because there's river turbines that we could use with the mighty Mississippi powering them that would create a lot of energy that actually people could receive possibly a check like they do in other cities of Louisiana that has clean energy. And we paid $210 million for a plant that created $7.4 million worth of energy to send back onto their line and sell to Mississippi and Alabama. We need to be refunded for that too as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you. Mr. Mossgrove, same question. How would you better regulate Entergy if elected in 30 seconds?
Yes, Entergy has become focused not on the customers, and it has to reorganize its corporate culture back towards the customers. Customers are getting less service and increased cost. That doesn't work. Regulating Entergy vigilantly and diligently is very important. And I think there are a number of ways that Entergy can improve service and lower cost, and that's by changing its energy portfolio. I do agree with the idea of a management audit that's independent, and they must start looking for, and we must require them to start looking for the efficiencies in their structures and lower costs for customers.
Yeah.
And improve.
No, thank you, Mr. Mossgrove. Mr. Perez, same question in 30 seconds with Entergy if you're elected.
If I'm elected to the city council, I want to serve on the Public Utilities Committee so that I may be Entergy's worst nightmare. As far as regulating them, we got to get rid of the advisors, the utility advisors that the council employs. They are completely in the back pockets of Entergy. I am the only candidate that has publicly said I am not taking Entergy contributions. I think we need to force them into more clean energy, more renewable sources of energy. And also, when we find them, we've got to hit them where it hurts. You know, when they paid actors to go to the city council, they were fined $5 million. Last year, they made $1 billion. That's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Now, Ms. Waiters, you're going to wrap up this question for us in 30 seconds. If elected, how would you better regulate Entergy?
Well, first of all, I would try to get a better understanding of how Entergy New Orleans and Entergy Louisiana work together and understand their organizational structure and their rate paying. I think that it is unconscionable that after the fact that we are asking the correct questions about investment into infrastructure from the ratepayers. That should have been asked ongoing. We invested, this council approved 2 years ago, the plan for the New Orleans East plant, and we should have been asking of the accountability on that and other infrastructure investments that Entergy promised. Secondly, I agree with Mr. Perez. I do think that we need to make the consultants, the city that consults to the city council, accountable, and that needs to be reviewed as well. Thank you.
All right, really quickly here, in about 10 seconds, we're going to start with you, Ms. Waiters, really like 5 or 10 seconds. Number one issue impacting District C in about 5 or 10 seconds that you would focus on if elected.
Number one issue, I think just the quality of life for our residents in District C from the community-based perspective and economic development for small businesses. And that's the bottom line, an improved quality of life. We have more. Okay.
Sorry, I apologize. Mr. Perez, 10 seconds. Number one issue impacting District C.
Crime. We've got to address crime to improve quality of life issues. Second would be infrastructure.
All right, Mr. Musgrove, same thing in about 10 seconds.
There are a number of issues: crime and city performance of core services, and not only from the city departments, but from related entities like Sewage and Water Board, RTA, and Entergy.
Okay, Mr. Milligan, same question in about 10 seconds. The number one issue involved impacting District C.
Until we reduce crime, we can't get tourists in here. People are moving out of the city in droves, and we have to address the crime. That's the number one issue here that has to be addressed. There's no doubt about it.
All right, Mr. Knox, same question in about 10 seconds. Biggest issue impacting District C, in your opinion?
Without a question, without any doubt, is crime. And I'm the only one who has the experience and worked on a program to reduce crime. And second to that, I would do economic development and recovery.
All right, Mr. King, 10 seconds. Biggest issue impacting District C.
Biggest issue impacting District C is crime. From the Bywater to the cutoff, crime is on everyone's radar. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, no, it's impacting the city. And finally, Ms. Bridges, in about 10 seconds, what's the biggest issue impacting District C?
Well, District C is facing numerous critical issues, but one of the issues is crime. But the other thing is we need to move forward to reopen our city. That's the number one thing our citizens are asking us to do.
All right, I wish we had more time. There are 7 of you. We're trying to get to a lot in here. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, and we want to give you all a chance to tell voters why you're the best candidate for them. So we're going to do closing statements in about 20 or 30 seconds. Let's try to keep them tight. Ms. Waiters, you finished last time with opening. You're going to start with closing statements to let everybody watching in District C why they should vote for you on Election Day in about 20 or 30 seconds.
Sure. I hope that the citizens would vote for me for District C City Council person because I am the most experienced. I bring a collectively 30 years of experience in government, business, and building coalitions in the community, both volunteer and paid. We don't have time for anyone who's inexperienced. We need someone to hit the ground running. And I hope that you will look on my website, waitersfordistrictc.com. I have a very detailed resume and portfolio. Please, I appreciate your support. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Perez, about 20 or 30 seconds. Let people know why you feel you're the best candidate for them.
Well, I think one of the reasons is because I'm not beholden to any political machine or any special interest groups. I'm running a grassroots campaign. I'm a community activist. I'm new to politics, which means that I'm not beholden to anyone. The only people I'm beholden to are the residents of District C. I'm not just another lawyer running for office, and I don't have higher political ambitions. I'm running to make a difference.
All right, Mr. Musgrove, 20 or 30 seconds. You can let people know why you feel you're the best for them.
Yes, as a longtime standard bearer for real progress in New Orleans, I advocate for people and community-focused decision-making, transparency, city government that performs at a high level, comprehensive and long-term solutions to major problems, and a unified community working together to solve these problems. Please go to stephenmusgrove.com for more information, and I look forward to your support. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Milligan, same thing, 20 or 30 seconds to let people know why you feel you're the best candidate.
I feel like I'm the best candidate because I'm most informed panel. Also, I don't have any party affiliations and party agendas that I have to behold to, as well as Frank. Our livelihood depends on the recovery of this city, and if this city doesn't recover, neither does our livelihood. So I'm invested personally and professionally in the city, and I'm fighting for issues and fighting against corruption. So I'm going to be City Hall's biggest enemy, I guess.
All right, Mr. Knox, 20 or 30 seconds to make a closing statement.
Thank you. And I think I'm the best candidate because I'm the only candidate that's battle tested. I'm the only one who served in combat and know how to fight. I'm also the only one who has served at all levels of politics, the national, the state, and the local. I'm the only one who's unintimidated to actually do check and balance, to do what the city council is supposed to do. I'm the only one that's going to speak truth to power. We know we have different personalities, both in the mayor's office as well as the city council. I'm the only one who's going to stand up and speak to all of those entities. We may have a TD, but we may need an uncle on city council, and I could be that uncle and want to be speaking the truth to power.
All right. Thank you, Mr. King. You have 20 or 30 seconds to let people know why you feel you're the best candidate.
Thank you. I'm the only candidate running for District C that has recent experience working for District C. I am the only candidate that has the backing of the Orleans Parish Democratic Party. And the quality and leadership that you need to have is the ability to work well with others. I'm endorsed by Governor John Bel Edwards, Congressman Troy Carter. We're already having conversations on how to make District C a better district moving forward. Once elected, those conversations will turn into action to make District C a better place for everyone, from the Bywater to the Cutoff, McClendonville to the Marinette. Thank you. I'd like to ask for your support and your prayers moving forward. Thank you.
All right. And with you, Ms. Bridges, let people know why you feel you're the best candidate for them in about 20 or 30 seconds.
Every day, I walk the streets of District C, and I'm greeted by my neighbors who tell me that they are tired of politics as usual and that they are ready for New Orleans to reopen. I'm Stephanie Bridges, candidate for District C. I have the leadership and the experience to act on day one. As a former city attorney, I know the inner workings of city government, and I know how to address problems with common sense solutions. Like you, I have the same issues concerning the lack of progress in our city. I will work to make certain that government works for all of us. Visit stephanieforcouncil.com. Thank you.
All right. Thank all of you all for joining us here. All 7 viewers and voters get a pretty good snapshot of what you all are all about. I wish we could have covered more, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have. You can see this entire segment starting Monday morning on WDSU.com. Once again, these are your candidates for District C. I'm Travers Macklin. That's all the time that we have for the Hot